Hello. Welcome to the first part of The Odds Are in My Favor. At the beginning of this part, we see that Bai Wu tells, "Damn it, the landlord just kicked me out and also changed the locks. Forced me into becoming a homeless guy just because I can't pay the rent, huh?" He is Bai Wu, B-list author, famous for The Bombed, Raising Slimes from Today Onward. He tells, "My newest book bombed. It looks like I won't get paid anytime soon. How long can I survive on this? Do I have to wash dishes for me to live now?" He says, "I'm at rock bottom right now. Might as well try my luck on the lottery. Boss won 5 yuan scratch ticket and leave it to fate." Shop owner put a bunch of scratch tickets in front of him and asked, "Which one do you want?" He replies, "Just trying my luck, and one works." He is surprised to see something. He rubs the eyes. He sees the success rate. He is really surprised and thinks, "What? Did I overworked last night? And now I'm seeing things? What in the world is this? Am I the only one seeing this? Is this an illusion?" He tries to touch the 100% above the ticket, but his hand goes through. Shop owner is getting angry. Wu thinks, "Should I try one?" He scratched the ticket and won 10 yuan. He thinks, "What if?" But he puts his hand on the 100% tickets. He says, "Boss, I want to buy 2 more, and I want these too." He scratches the ticket. He wins 5 yuan and 50 yuan. He thinks, "Is this for real? Could it be that the numbers on the tickets are the success rates?" He gets excited and says, "Boss, give me 11 more." He buys 1 0% ticket and 10 100% tickets. He thinks, "These 10 100% are guaranteed wins. Let's try this 0% one." He loses. He is really surprised and thinks, "Can I actually see the success rates?" Owner says, "Hey kid, gambling is never a good thing. Learn to control yourself." He says, "Boss, gimme 10 20 yuan tickets and 1 10 yuan ticket." Owner looks happy and tells him, "You sure you want to buy them, kid? Don't waste your last 200 yuan like that." After that, we see 10 minutes later. He receives 20,240 yuan in his Alipay account. Owner is feeling bad and thinks, "What sort of luck is this?" He thinks, first of all, the numbers represent the success rate of the lottery, but the amount won is unknown. He talks to himself, "It would be nice to know the lottery winnings. For example, the chance of winning 100 yuan or some other amount." Owner says, "Dream on, no one is that lucky." He realizes something. He asks, "Boss, give me some more of these always winning scratch tickets." The number on the tickets change. He gives an evil smile. Owner says, "Hey kid, you better stop now. With something like luck would never tell." Wu smiles and tells the owner, "It's okay. I feel lucky today. If I don't win, then I'll just treat this as charity donations." Owner is nervous and angry at the same time. He thinks, "So you don't care about 100 yuan after winning 20,000? Let's see if your luck runs out." He wins something and tells, "Seems like my luck is still by my side." Owner is really surprised and thinks, 6 wins in a row? How could he be so lucky? It seems like I'm lucky today. Another win again. He keeps on winning. He looks at the other tickets. He thinks, "If only I know the chances of getting 50 yuan. Percentage changes on the tickets." He smiles and thinks, "I knew it. The probabilities that show up are based on my questions. If I can reframe my questions and use the probabilities correctly, I can completely fool the shop owner and change my fate." He tells the shopkeeper, "It looks like I'm lucky today." Shopkeeper says, "You think your luck will last forever. Your life is like a piece of jade." He smiles and thinks, "I have an artifact in my hands. It is not a life like a jade." He says, "It's just because I'm lucky today, boss. Can you give me 20 more? That's all." Shopkeeper says, "Kid, that's just luck. Don't let it make you addicted." Wu says, "It's okay. I'm lucky today. Who knows if I'll win the 20 lotteries? Besides, I got 20,000 yuan today." Wu is about to scratch the ticket. Shop puts his hand on his own chest. He is really nervous. Wu wins nothing this time. Shopkeeper says, "Kid, let me tell you, luck comes and goes. It can't be relied on." He loses some more, but he smiles and thinks, luck can't be relied on. But he loses a lot. He looked nervous. Shopkeeper is happy and told him, "I already told you. You didn't believe me. I think you used up all your luck before, and so you got unlucky. I hope you will still be lucky this year." He got all the 0% tickets, but there is one with the 30,000%. He thinks, but you didn't know that I relied on power, not luck? Just now I bought the ones with 1% chance of. I did it on purpose so he won't get suspicious. He buys 20 more. Shopkeeper tells Wu, okay kid, I'll give back 100 yuan of your money, and the rest is good. Your luck now is 1 out of 10. Wu tells the shopkeeper no, thank you for your kindness, but I don't believe it. He thinks, it's time to turn things around. Shopkeeper says to Wu, just forget it. He wins 10 yuans. Shopkeeper is surprised. He thinks, that's just 10 yuan. I was shocked and I thought it was 10,000 yuan. He starts to win again. He says, why is it all 10 yuan? The highest was 100 and that's a small amount too. Shopkeeper thinks, is this kid a devil? Wu starts to pray saying, spirits of sky and earth help me. Let's hope I'll win a big prize. Shopkeeper smiles and tells Wu, do you know the chance to get millions of yuan? Your luck is still lacking. Wu tells the shopkeeper I got 15,000 yuan. My luck is really bad. He is really surprised and says, what? He received 15,000 yuan in his account. He asked the shopkeeper, what did you just say? My luck is. Shopkeeper says nothing. He realizes something and says, no way. He sees the tickets and thinks, the chance of winning was already set at the factory, and that kid won many times. Does that mean the chance of winning left is going to go down? Shopkeeper says to Wu, kid, you're so lucky today. Why did you stop? Shopkeeper thinks people will buy these, and the winning chances are low. What will happen to my business? He thinks, what are the winning chances at the lotteries left in those racks? It is only 5%. Wu says to shopkeeper, no boss, I think it's time to stop. I think my luck will go down after the wins. He thinks the chances of winning is from 30% and decrease to 5%. Shopkeeper says to Wu, kid, you already got 35,000 and up. Why don't you try again? He replies to the shopkeeper, if I even lose 100 or 200 yuan, it's still money, boss. We must be more diligent and thrifty. Shopkeeper thinks, you just say that now. Boss, I know you are kind, but I feel satisfied. He thinks I can make a good profit this time. But for my power, can it be used for things instead of just a lottery? I don't know. How much are the chances of opening this door? Chances of opening the door starts to going down. He is really surprised. He thinks, wait, what's this? He gets back. Shopkeeper is confused. A dog comes running through the door. He thinks, I avoided a dog. That dog was annoying. I almost got hit. I have to go quickly. Shopkeeper thinks, wait, how did he know if he had to avoid it? Is he a god? Shopkeeper grabs him by the arm and says, you, don't leave. Wu thinks, shit, is he suspicious? He asks, young man, how did you know? Wu thinks, sure enough, what I did back there was a bit too strange. I'm a fortune teller myself. What are the success rates in fooling shop owners? 50%. What about a fortune teller who has been in my ancestral lineage? 64%. Barely enough to fool him. He tells him, boss, actually I'm a fortune teller. Don't compare us to crooks under the bridge. We're from the Zhou dynasty. We've been around for 2,000 to 3,000 years. Shopkeeper thinks it's bullshit. Young man, I'm a firm believer in science. I don't believe in ghosts. Besides, if your family's been around for 2,000 to 3,000 years, it should be famous. Why, I've never heard of it. Wu thinks, above your head. That frame, it's metaphysics, not science. Wu tells him, it's been in my family since ancient times. They never took part in the change of dynasties, so their reputation wasn't high. Shopkeeper is astonished to hear that. Wu thinks the success rate is increasing game on. He points toward the lotteries and says, shop owner, you've already seen my fortune-telling skills. Success rate increases to 80%. Shopkeeper says, what? Don't tell me. Wu tells the shopkeeper, that's right. I've just figured out my fortune, and I've won the lottery, so I decided to stop because the heavens have turned against me. Wu tells him, the 10 that didn't win were on omens. Shopkeeper says, I see. No wonder you have such luck. Winning 20,000 on scratch lotteries like that. He tells him, I had a bad feeling when I walked out of here, so I did a quick fortune telling and found out I could be killed. That's why I ran back. Shopkeeper asks, young man, no, master, how much for your services? I need you to divine something. Wu thinks this is a good chance to test my skills. He says, no need for payment. Our skills are highly tied to karma and retribution. So my streak just now will affect your business in the future. There is a price for everything. Tell me, boss, what do you want me to do? Shopkeeper says, I would like you to see my financial future. My old home is getting demolished soon, but we haven't discussed compensation. Can you tell me, what is the maximum amount they will agree to? Wu asks, what is an ideal price for you? He tells Wu, it's a 200 to 300 square meter house. 1 square meter would be around 10,000. He says, I got it. He thinks, what are the odds that they would pay 2 or 3 million as compensation for the shopkeeper? It's 100%. He is surprised and thinks, what about 4 million? It is also 100%. Then what about 5 million? It's just 10%. Then what about 4.5 million? Shopkeeper asks, Master, have you got it? He tells him, Shopkeeper, if you asked for 4.3 million, they won't hesitate to take it. If you asked for 4.5 million, there is an 80% chance they will take it. For 4.8 million, there will only be a 50% chance. Shopkeeper is really surprised and says, 4 million? So much. Master, are your calculations correct? Wu says, if you don't believe me, you can call them right now and try. Wu thinks, now is a good time to test the power of my Midas touch. Shopkeeper calls them. 1 minute later, they actually agreed. Unbelievable. Shopkeeper is really surprised and tell Wu, they actually agreed. Unbelievable. Master, you are a true master of divination, karma and retribution. This is one hell of a karma you gave me, master. What about this? Let me give you 300,000 as compensations. Wu says, well, you see. He receives 300,000 yuan and tells him, oh my, you shouldn't have. He is really happy in his head and thinks, 300,000 just like that. Awesome. I just cracked the code of life with this. He tells him, no problem. He leaves the shop. While leaving, he thinks, this is too good. As long as I use this gold mine properly, I can definitely climb up to the top of the world. The dog is laying outside that broke into the shop earlier. Wu sees it and thinks, what is this stupid dog still doing here? Looks like a purebred. Has someone lost it? A 100% appears above the dog. Wu says, since you helped me earn big back then, why don't I help you find your master? Dog picks up the ball and throws it. The ball bounced around a lot and hit the dog in the head. And hit Wu in the head too. Wu thinks, what sort of torment does his owner go through every day? Dog bite Wu's pants. He thinks this is stupid, but I still have to find its master. But where? The dog starts to run. Everyone is surprised. Wu goes after the dog and says, is he looking for his master? Let me follow him. 3 minutes later, Central Park, we see a girl taking a selfie. Wu thinks, this babe, damn, she's at least a 9. He thinks, what are the odds of this babe being the dog's owner? A 100% appears above her head. He thinks, damn, its owner is actually such a pretty babe. I'm lucky. I only wanted to make some money from looking for its owner while testing out my skills. I didn't expect to get the chance to talk to such a beauty. She is still taking selfies. Wu sees her and thinks she's too chill. She's even in the mood to take selfies after losing her dog. She turns around and sees the dog. She says, you want a husky too? It looks just like my dog Oreo. Wu thinks it's yours. I don't think you're the sharpest tool in the shed. She says, even the barking sounds the same. But my Oreo is slightly cuter, and your husky looks a little dumb. My Oreo is much smarter. Our Oreo eats 500 tons of dog food. Its fur is in much better condition than your dog's too. Wu coughs to get her attention. He thinks this girl was actually born dumb. She asks, yes? He asks if I'm not wrong. This is your Oreo. She laughs and says, what a bad joke. My Oreo is securely leased on the bench. We see the broken lease. After that we see 5 minutes later. She said, I'm so sorry. Thank you so much. He adds her to his friend list. He says, no problem. It's good that you found your dog. He thinks, it's my first time to befriend a beauty. I really made the right decision to come. He tells her, you husky is way too wild. It's like he's tearing down the entire house. I would have already been chased out by the landlord. But I'm in no position to criticize you. My rented room's look was replaced today. Now I have nowhere to go. She says, Why do you even rent a house? Isn't it better to have your own? I'm going off. He thinks, right? Now that I have this probability skill, why do I still think about paying rent? It's easy to buy a house once you're rich. How do I become rich and buy a house? I don't have enough, even if I pay in installments and make a deposit of 300K. This also isn't a common situation. I need to think of a quick way to make money. He appears in front of an antique store market. He thinks, antique collections. Everyone is selling really old stuff. All the shopkeepers surrounds him. One of the shopkeepers tells the other shopkeeper, this fella is definitely a novice. Look at his presentation. He looks brainless and lost. Phi thinks, their jerks definitely take me as a novice that can be easily conned. All these scammers. He gets to stall. The shopkeeper says, hey kid, these are antiques inherited from my ancestors. My surname's Lee, and apparently an ancestor of mine is the poet Lee Shiming. He says, boss, you don't have to bother me. I'm just looking around. Wu thinks, but no one can imagine that this novice here has golden fingers. I definitely won't be easily conned. Let me see. The odds of getting a real deal successfully is. He looks around the stuff. Wu thinks, does that mean these are real? It can't be. Something doesn't feel right. No. My understanding of antique collections must be wrong. Who knows what era these are from? Who knows they aren't valuable at all? I need to limit the success rate. What are the odds of getting something valued at 10K and above? How about getting something valued at 5K? Boss, how much is this? Shopkeeper says, young lad, you have sharp eyes. This item is my most valuable antique. Even Tsishi played with it back then, since we have a bond. 20K. He is really surprised. He thinks, what trash, its value isn't even guaranteed to be 200, and he still wants to con me. Shopkeeper says, hey little bro, don't go. Let me give you a discount. How about 10K? Wu thinks, damn street's full of scammers. Looks like I can't set the value of an antique collection too low. I will set 10K as the bottom limit. What are the chances of buying something worth 10K from this stall? 100%. He gets excited and thinks, the chances are also 100% for something worth 50K. I really came across a good deal. Shopkeeper gets excited and thinks, looks like I'll be teaching this novice his first lesson. Shopkeeper tell him, little bro, buying antiques is a test of your eyes. I'm a decent businessman. Unlike those con shops, scamming people at high prices. Look, this is a good item. Wu says, no, boss. Wu says, I want this. He sees something, with the value of 500K. Wu says, I'm not just any ordinary novice. With my probability skill, I can easily pick out valuable antiques and become a first-tier antique collector in the future. This is the beginning of my legend. Shopkeeper thinks, what the heck? This novice is too naive. Just because it looks old doesn't necessarily mean that it's an antique. Out of 10 bronzes, 9 are fake and the other is fresh out of the oven. How am I supposed to raise the price for such trash? Wu thinks, this fatty is definitely trying to seize the opportunity to raise the price. I shouldn't leak out such an eager expression. I've become too confident ever since I got my probability skill. Shopkeeper says, little buddy, you're really greedy. But let me tell you something first. First, take a look at this porcelain vase. Collecting antiques requires skills of affinity and good eyes. I see that you have great affinity, so I'll give you my honest opinion. Look at this vase. It's very well polished and bright. And look at the round finish at the base. It's pure handicraft. And listen to this sound, it's clear. It's just not expensive, just 50K. Once you resell it, you'll most likely make a fortune out of it. Wu thinks, how much is it actually worth? What's up with this fatty? Forget about finding out the price of the goblet. He's still trying to sell me some trashy vase. Wu smiles and thinks, unless the boss himself doesn't know that he owns an item that's worth at least 500K. Wu tell him, boss, I also think that collecting antiques requires affinity. This porcelain vase is indeed decent, but I have no affinity with it. But I think this goblet looks pretty good. Shopkeeper says, little buddy, you're interested in the bronze goblet? You have great eyes. This is a treasure I dug out from my hometown, 8K. If you really want it, I'll sell it to you at its original price. No more and no less. How's it? Wu smiles and says, 8K. He thinks, comparing 500K, 8K is just peanuts. This fatty really doesn't seem to know the true value of the goblet. The likelihood of him knowing is 0% as I expect. With probability skills in my hands, your attempts at hiding your thoughts are futile. Let me think about how I can slash the price. Should I pretend to be a poor novice? Like I care about you trying to inflate the price. As long as I know the baseline of your offers, I'll be able to win the negotiation. First, let me use the probability skills to find out his baseline. What is the probability of buying this goblet at 4K? What the 100% for 4K? How about 2K? 100%. Then, what about 1K 80%? He thinks, forget it, I shouldn't be too greedy, 2K it shall be. Wu says to the shopkeeper boss, 8K is a little too high. Are you able to lower the price? Shopkeeper says, such a good item. 8K really isn't expensive. But, since you seem to have such a good affinity, name a price. Wu says, 2K. Shopkeeper thinks, goodness, this brat really gives no chances when slashing the price. Even if it is 2K, it still isn't easy to sell. Wu asks, how is it? If you don't want to sell it, then forget it. Shopkeeper says, 2K it shall be then. Actually, I spent 8K on 2 items. The other was sold to a beautiful lady yesterday. He gave him 2,000 yuan. Wu and the shopkeeper both think the same thing. I made a fortune. Shopkeeper says, I sold an item that was bought for a few bucks for 2K. I easily sold a bunch of trash at the price of an antique. A mere novice trying to collect antiques. This dummy, 2K is such a great deal. Yesterday, there was a lady who spent 9K on a wine pot. Today, another brat spent 2K on a goblet. The seller is still wittier than the buyer. Money just rolls in easily. Shopkeeper 2 says, what's there to flaunt? Isn't that the lady whom you scammed 9K out of yesterday? He says, she isn't possibly here to find trouble from you, right? Shopkeeper says, that's none of my business. The money and the goods are separate issues. A girl appears in front of the shopkeeper. He says, my shop's a small business. There's no refund once an item is sold. She says, it's gone? How come it's gone? He asks, what's gone? He says, where's the bronze goblet? I'll spend 10K, no, 50K to buy that goblet. Shopkeeper thinks, how much? He thinks, is that goblet really that valuable? How did that novice know? This is the end. Subscribe for the next part.